Hey y'all, I'm here with another video. So I'm here to do Married at First Sight. What is this? Episode 4, I think. Season 14, episode 4. Y'all know I'm gonna go in on ALYSSA, right? Y'all do know that, right? Okay. Alright, cool. Let's get to everybody else before we get to dragging, shall we? Alright. So let's see. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Let's get these two people out of the way. These two couples. Noy and why do I always say, is that how you say her name? Noy and Steve. Not really much happened. They went to the waterfalls. They like each other. Jasmina and Michael, I feel like they're they, and when I mean they, I mean like Jasmina production. I feel like they're trying to make Jasmina and Michael a really big problem when they're not that huge of a problem. Like, yes, they have issues, but they're gonna have issues, you know, but it's not that big of a deal. They're fine. Let's move on. Lindsay and Mark. So they had squashed pretty much their little argument from the night prior, from when Mark told Lindsay that she needs to slow down because she be doing a lot. I'm not going to hold you. I ain't going to hold you. Me and Lindsay, this episode, here. Me and Lindsay was here this episode, this one, okay? But, you know, they talked. I liked how they were able to talk everything out that same night. Boom, get it over with. Now you have this whole situation with Mark, and apparently, like, he got like some bed bugs or something like that, and he got a letter from his landlord, who apparently is kind of sort of like his second mom, changing his lease, pretty much saying that he can no longer have cats. So he pretty much has to move out because he has 5 cats. Now, I ain't gonna hold you. 5 cats is a lot. It really is. But I don't know if legally she can do that. So they got to figure all of that out or whatever. Let's see. Katina and Olajuwon. So they go horseback riding. This whole horseback riding scene reminded me of me and my boyfriend so much. Baby, when I'm telling you, I could really feel what Katina was saying and her frustration. Because literally, this is the crazy part about it. So let me just tell you what Katina and Olajuwon. So they go horseback riding, right? And she was pretty much getting like really annoyed because she was like having a hard time. But he was like, oh no, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. And he's like, you gotta do it like this, you gotta do it like that. When I'm telling you, same thing happened to me. When we went to me and my boyfriend, we went to the Poconos. Mind you, we went to the Poconos when we was like, how old was I when we went there? 20. We was like 21 because it was my graduation present from graduating college, whatever. So we go to the Poconos, and one of the things we did, we went horseback riding. My first time ever going horseback riding. I'm telling y'all, my horse was not fucking with me that day. My horse was not fucking with me that day for some reason. Didn't like me. Wasn't my best friend. I could not like get him to go. And my boyfriend was doing exactly what Elijah was doing, which is like, no, you gotta do it like this. No. And it's like, I get it, but calm down. And that's all she was saying. Stop trying to push her. He was saying how he wants to have somebody that's like adventurous, so he's always gonna be pushing her and stuff. And she was like, I get that, but I need you to be patient. So I definitely felt her on that. And before they left, like at the very end, before they left and was going back home, Katina said, like, because I think he asked, like, are you nervous about us getting back home? And she was like, yeah, because, you know, I don't want us to live with each other and then we find things that we don't like about each other. Well, that's gonna happen. That's gonna happen. Yeah, that's gonna happen. Y'all are not gonna be how y'all are right now because y'all have to live with each other. Y'all gotta deal with each other every single day. So yes, there's gonna be a lot of things that annoy y'all. Y'all just gotta kind of work through it and compromise and all the other shit. And she was like, hopefully we can move in there and not have any arguments. I hope she's just like being hyperbolic when she says that, because we all know that's not going to happen. What else? Who else we got? Is that it? We did Lindsay and Mark, Jasmina and Michael, Katina, Olajuwon. I'm trying to think, which way should I do this? Okay, so I'm going to do ALYSSA and Chris, but then I'm also going to weave in the little group scenes that happen too. So let's start off, okay? I'm really going to try. I'm going to try so hard to censor myself because it's going to be hard. All right. So we get to Alyssa and Chris, right? So Chris pretty much is sitting in his room by himself like he been doing, okay? And it's like, she hasn't tried to talk to him at all, like off camera or whatever. And you want to know what? Chris was dropping some gems and truths in this episode. He said, she wants me to act husbandly, but is doing nothing as a wife. I said, you better preach, because you want him to, I don't know what Alyssa wants Chris to do, but you want him to continuously do whatever it is that he's doing. Like he said, act like a husband, but you don't want to reciprocate at all. Baby, she was pissing me off this whole thing. Then we pan over to Alyssa, and Alyssa, she's like, I'm here, and I'm here, so that still says a lot, and I'm just trying to stay in the game. Bitch, how? So then they go and they play tennis with each other, right? Oh, it's giving me flashbacks to I really want to remember their name, but the other people. The people I was telling y'all about before, when the guy had said he wasn't attracted to her, whatever, same thing. But they played tennis, right? Tennis was perfectly fine. So then they go to sit down. And Chris is like, so I know the next step after this, the honeymoon, is for us to move into the apartment with each other. So what are your feelings? How do you feel about this? And she goes like, I don't want to move in with you. Like, I don't feel comfortable or whatever. And he was like, okay, well, I'm going to say this. Like, I know for a fact that I'm committed to this whole thing. And then she stops him and she's like, no. What we're not going to do that, because that's implying that I'm not committed. You're not. You are not committed. You're committed to being on TV, which we'll get to in a second. Oh, we'll get to that in a second. And so then she was like, we were both robbed of this. I'm so tired of her saying we were both robbed of this experience. Girl, bye, shut the fuck up. So then she was like, yeah, we're both robbed of this experience. I don't think it's fair. And then she goes, and what I'm trying to understand is, why is it that why do you get to move in and not me? And he says, well, you can move in if you want to. Like, obviously, if you want to move in, like, if you want to live with me, that's perfectly fine. And so she gets up and walks away when he says that, because no, he says, yeah, like, if you want to, you can pretty much move in. You can live with me. Like, I don't have a problem, but that's a tough spot for you to be in, because you're saying you don't feel comfortable being with me. But at the same time, you're saying that you feel like you want to move in. So she gets upset at that for whatever fucking reason and walks away. So she goes over to talk to the producers, and the producers are like, well, do you want to, like, the producers are trying to, is the audience, because they're confused like us. So they're like, why do you want to be in the apartment? Is it like a logistics thing or whatever? And she was like, no, I just want to be able to be close to the girls. Like, what if they call and they be like, we need you here in like a really quick minute? I can't be there in the last minute. And I'm just like, what? And the producers said the same thing that we're all thinking, which is, listen, the whole point is for you to be able to move in with your spouse. Bitch, this is not Bad Girls Club. This is not Ladies Who List. This is not The Real Housewives. This is not The Real Housewives of Lifetime. That's not what this is. This show is not for you to sit up here and have an experience with just women. It doesn't work that way. This is not the Jersey Shore. This is not 20-somethings. This is not the real world, bitch. This is Married at First Sight. The point of you moving in that building is not for you to be able, not for you to sit up here and talk to the other couples. The couples are put in the same building to be able to have a support system, but they're not for you to just individually hang out with each other. What are you talking about? The point is to move in with your spouse, like they said. So, oh yeah, I might as well get to it. I was going to wait, but we might as well get to it, because the point of the matter is, what it really gets down to is this. She wants to be on TV. She wants to be on TV, and she wants to get the perks without actually doing what the point of this show is. That's what it is. She saw Chris. She was not attracted to him, and she figured, well, you want to know what? I'm not attracted to him, but I am on TV, and I kind of get to go, on vacation, and I get to stay in a nice ass fucking apartment that's probably located somewhere really nice, and probably the apartment itself is really nice. That's all you care about, girl. Let's just be real with the real, okay? So Lifetime then again points out how fucking nitpicking this bitch is, because Chris is literally over there talking to some producers, and he's like pointing to like some stuff, and she's like, oh my gosh, even his hand gestures are annoying. And the producer kind of laughs and is like, he's just pointing. She's like, no, I'm just saying, like, look, even that. Bitch, you are this. I don't know how you expect to ever be and get with a man acting like that, number one. And not only acting like that, if somebody was to ever go back and see the way that you act, you really think you're appealing to a man, to anybody? You think you're even appealing as a friend? Girl. So then Chris goes upstairs or whatever, and he calls his sister. His sister's like, hey, you know how married life going on? He was like, no. And pretty much tells her what's going on. And she says the same thing that Chris does, which is like, well, her mom told me that she is the type to cry a lot and that she flies off the handle a whole lot, which is literally describing how she's been since she's been on this damn show. And that, you know, really she needed somebody like you. And Chris, you know, reiterates that. He's like, yeah, all of her sisters and stuff and everybody, they say that I'm the type of man that she needs because she is the type to always be flipping and snapping off. So he was like, I know she doesn't think that I'm the right person for her, but I do think that I am. Like, Chris, even with all of this, is still trying. What a good man, okay? So like his sister said the same thing that I'm feeling, which is like, Chris, at this time, it's time to leave. Like, I'm not gonna hold you. I got annoyed with Chris by the end of this episode because there's no point of going back and forth with this bitch. Like, at once the last scene of this episode happened, there should have been no point of going back and forth. You should have packed your stuff and left, Chris, because now I'm gonna start to look at you the way that I was looking at Paige. If it keeps going down the road that I think it's gonna go down. But anyway, let's keep going. So then we see ALYSSA outside talking to the producer. She was like, I could be betrayed in a bad light. Okay, and I'm always positive. Let me tell you something. She said, I am a good person and I'm always positive. I promise you 50 times in this episode. And if anybody who has to say multiple times, I'm a good person, you're not a good person. Because good people don't have to walk around telling people that they're a good person. Okay? Okay. And so she's talking to the producer and she's like, you know, I'm always positive and I hate him. He's an asshole and it seems like he's a nice guy, but he's not. I've been so nice to him. Girl, you have not. Shut the fuck up. I don't. Okay. So she keeps going on to because again, this is about her image, because she's literally said 15 times throughout this entire episode about how she's being portrayed, because all you care about is being on TV. That's it. And like it's been said multiple times, because I know she'll probably sit on a reunion or sit online and say the producers cut it up, because that's what she's doing. She's setting it up right now so that she can say later that you guys purposely made me look bad. But let me tell you something that somebody said before. The producers can't do anything with something you don't give them. They can't splice nothing that you don't give them. They can't misinterpret. If you don't give it to them, they can't mess with it. Okay? They don't need to make you look bad. You're doing a great job all by your fucking self. Okay? So then she's like, my mom is mad at me because, you know, she thinks that I'm being mean to him. And if I look bad on here, I'm going to be pissed. Let me say something. I feel like it says a whole lot, because I thought about this later. It says a whole lot, right? That your own mother, without even seeing this show, without talking to anybody other than you, knows that you're being a bitch to this man. You want to know why? Because she knows her child. A mother knows their child. So, and I'm pretty sure the version of the story that you're giving her is probably even to like lean more in your favor. And the fact that she can still tell by knowing you that you are being mean to this man. That's why she's mad. And when she turns around and she watches this on TV, she knows she right. Because your mama knows you. Fuck I. What? Come on now. Your mama should be mad at you. And she won't be even madder when she watches this on TV. She's going to be pissed. Okay? So, what else happened? So at this point, the black producer, see, it's always the black people who has to step in, because it was the black producer who stepped in. He said, look, pretty much this is how this gets down. This is married at first sight. It's not single at first sight. So if you're not a couple, you're done. And that's when right then and there, I bet you she shaped up right then and there, because then guess what? Without Chris, you can't be on TV and you can't get your 15 minutes that you're looking for. So we go back into the I'll say, okay, so that's just that, right? Boom. So she's like, oh, we'll figure it out and we'll talk about this another day, like she always fucking says. So then we have the next day. So we have ALYSSA meeting with Jasmina and Katina, and then we have Chris meeting with Lindsay and Mark. So let's do Chris, Lindsay, and Mark real fast. So long story short, because Chris tells them everything that's going on, Lindsay pretty much says it like this. Lindsay says, I'm going to tell you what it is. You do not fit her type physically, and she got turned off, and she pretty much didn't want to make it work from there. Now, Chris goes, well, I don't really know about that, because she never told me that that was the problem, but she also didn't say that that was not a problem, so I don't really know. Chris, that's the problem. That's the problem, and Katina's going to say it again here, too. So as ALYSSA is telling her story, you can tell as ALYSSA is telling her story that Jasmina and Katina can tell that she's full of shit. That they can just tell, because the timeline is not. This is the thing, Katina. This is the thing, ALYSSA. You're talking to people who are in the exact same situation as you. So when you sit up there and tell these people who have had the exact same amount of time with their person that you have to say that you guys are not compatible, they, like the audience, can tell, bitch, what did you even give it a chance? Because she literally ended up telling them everything that happened. And Katina, after hearing everything, pretty much said like, okay, from my opinion, you kind of took what everybody told you for face value, and you never really got to know him, which is what I said. Like, just like Katina said, you could have took what everybody said, and I'm not saying forget it, but you could have tucked it in your back pocket, got to know him. So then when that did come out, you could pull it out and say, okay, bet that's what your mom was talking about. That's who this, that, and the third was talking about. But you didn't give him a chance at all. And then Katina said what we all know, which is you are not physically attracted to him. Period. You are not physically attracted to him, so you won't even give yourself a chance to have a chance. That's what it is. And you're using what everybody else told you at that wedding as an excuse, because you don't want to just be honest and say, I'm not attracted to him. So because I'm not attracted to him, and because I'm not fucking shallow, okay? And there's nothing wrong with being attracted to who you're attracted to. But the problem here is that you are not even giving a chance to know him outside of beyond his looks. You're not even trying. Like Chris said, you don't even talk to me off camera. You only somewhat talk to me on camera, and you never talk to me off camera. So if the only conversations y'all had has been on camera, then it's factual you haven't tried to get to know that man. So then they all get in a group for the last dinner before it's time to go. And they talk about kids and who wants kids or who wants this, that, and the third. So then Chris speaks up and talks about, you know, how many kids he wants and all of this other stuff and how he got to the journey of how many kids he wants. And everybody at the table, including Katina, is like, you know what, you're going to be a great dad. Because I think that's what Lindsay said. Somebody was like, you're going to be a really great dad. Don't worry. And everybody at the table was hyping him up, and the camera pans on us. I'm like, yup, that's right. Sit there and be stupid. And Lindsay said something that's so true. It's facts. Chris is the type of guy that ALYSSA is going to end up letting go in a couple years down the line after she done been through ain't shit niggas, because that's the only type of man that's going to deal with her, is a man that's going to treat her like shit because of her attitude, okay? Once you get ran through by all of them, you're going to turn around and be like, damn, I really should have gave that man a chance. You're always going to have a what if, always. Just remember that. So like I said, so Lindsay and everybody was hyping him up, saying how he'll be a great dad. Michael admitted that he did talk crazy kind of to Jasmine, that it needs to work on that. Elijah admitted that he can't keep pushing Katina but so hard. What am I on time, y'all? Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, that he can't keep pushing, you know, Katina too much. Steve said that he would communicate in, like, I guess, a different way. And then Mark said that he liked the fact that Lindsay like always had his back. So then when we get to Alyssa and Chris, you know, obviously Alyssa, she's like, well, obviously we're not in the same place as you guys. So then Alyssa pulls a fast move on the rest of us and Chris and says, well, because they asked, I think it was Noy who asked like them about, she was like, you know, I know the rest of us is all moving in with each other after this. What about y'all? So then Alyssa goes, well, you know, we were thinking that, you know, he can move in for the first half and then I can move in the second half. That means we, you know, we would still have a chance to, you know, do this even though we're not together. When I'm telling you, everybody at that table was like, what? What? I'm going to tell y'all what the what is. She wants to be on TV. And Olajuwon clocked it. And I forgot because I didn't even say it, but Jasmina said too in the confessional, like, Alyssa did not try, period. She didn't try. I'm so glad that everybody at this particular dinner clocked what Alyssa was doing. So, obviously, Chris was surprised because he was like, well, that was never brought up. That was something that was never said. And he said, well, that's nothing that I'm interested in. And she goes on her confession. She's like, well, I'm disappointed because he's not taking any of the options. Again, it's not single at first sight. This is not Jersey Shore. This is not Floribama. Sure, that's not what this is. This is married at first sight. This is not let's split a room or split an apartment so that we can both have time to be on TV. So Chris pretty much said, if you're in even 1%, then I'm ready to go and try it. And then Alyssa was like, I just want everybody to remember that this is not my fault. All she was doing, let's just be real. All Alyssa was doing this whole episode was capping. She was capping and trying to cover for her ass. Caping for her own ass. The whole thing. That's the only reason you will go around and keep and say out your mouth out of nowhere, remember, this is not my fault. I'm a good person. Y'all trying to portray me in a bad light. He's trying to make me look bad. I'm a good person. I'm a good person. It's because you know that you're a bitch and that you're coming off like a bitch and you don't want the entire world to know that you're a bitch when you actually are. It's too late, hun. There is nothing that you can sit up at here at this table and say, remember, it's not my fault. Anybody who has to say that, girl, it's your fault. It's your fault. Period. So, what happened? Chris pretty much has said to Alyssa, like, well, I just need to know pretty much, are you in or not? And then Alyssa's like, well, I don't want to answer that right now. I can't give you an answer right now in front of these group of people. Now, I'm not going to lie, Jasmina annoyed me and Katina just a little bit by saying, oh, well, no, she doesn't have to do that. You have to respect her and give her the privacy of doing that and not in front of a group, in front of everybody. First of all, y'all are on a reality show about being married at first sight. We're gonna be in your business point blank, period. So I'm a little bit confused on what you're talking about. It's not like she's talking about some deep childhood trauma. She's talking about whether or not she wants to give this a try. At the end of this, don't y'all gotta tell the people whether or not y'all want to do this during decision day? So how is that any fucking different? It's not. And number two, more importantly, like Chris said, she won't talk to me off camera. So the only time I can even get a chance to have this conversation with her is right now. Stop trying to cape for her. No, she's backpedaling. No, I'm tired of her. She's making me mad. I'm fucking sick of her. I'm sick of her. I don't want her on my TV. I'm so tired of it. Yo, Married at First Sight, because I might as well just do my rent right now. Married at First Sight, and I said it last week and I'm going to say it again. Stop doing this. Stop having people who are obviously clout chasing to be on TV and keep them on here. It's ridiculous. It's annoying. And it's a slap in the face at a person who's actually trying to be here for the right reason. Please, for goodness sake, take people off. If they're not here for the right reason, which it's obvious that Alyssa is here to be on TV, get her out of here. Please do not let this whole season drag out with her trying to act like she wants to be with Chris or even faking or whatever the case may be. End it and end it now. I don't want to go through a whole season and do this. I'm serious. Please kick her out of here because this is the problem. This is the problem with TV today. Y'all reward people for shit like that. Y'all reward people for shit like that. She has no business being on this show. I'm over it. And Olajuwon really called bullshit, even though Katina was trying to like have her back a little bit. In the confessional, he called bullshit and he said the absolute truth, because he said something to the effect of like, oh, because she was like, Alyssa kept saying, well, I could have left if I wanted to yesterday and I didn't. I'm still here. I'm still here. You keep saying that, but you're still here because there are cameras still here, not because you want to be in a relationship with him or you want to try to figure out. You're here because of the cameras and because of where you are. Because like Olajuwon said, he said she talking about some, oh, she could have flew out yesterday. What is it in Boston now? Like what, 50, 60 degrees? What is it here? 90. Don't try to make it seem like you did me a huge favor by, instead of staying in beautiful Puerto Rico, like it was just such a chore for you to not go back to cold ass Boston and to stay here in beautiful ass Puerto Rico. You doing me such a huge favor. Thanks so much, Alyssa. Fuck out of here. So then we get to the end and they pretty much are like downstairs in the lobby talking or whatever the hell it is that they want to. So Chris, again, with the nice approach, says, well, you know, you kind of brought it up at the table and it was my first time hearing it. Why do you want to split the apartment? And she says, because I want to be a part of the experience. That's what it is. But it's not. And this is what Chris said. And this is when Chris started to give the truth and his facts and matter. He said, she wants to go through this experience, but not the process. I said, bitch, you better say it, Chris. That's what it is. She wants to be on TV. She wants to get the perks of going somewhere nice, which is Puerto Rico. And she wants the perks of having an apartment that she probably don't got to pay for. That's probably centrally located and probably much nicer than what the hell it is that she has. That's what you want. You want all three of those things, but you don't want to do everything else that requires you to have those things. And that gives you the entitlement to have those things, which is to work on this marriage with him. That's a fact. Tell her, Chris. And so then Chris was like, okay, I think Alyssa said something to the effect of like, there's just things about us, you know, that aren't that great and stuff like that. And he said, okay, let me ask you something. He said, did you expect to get the perfect person? She said, no. He said, okay. Did you think that maybe there was possibly things that, you know, each other would have to change about one another to kind of fit the next person or, you know, adjust? And she said, yeah, but I just think that with me and you, you know, like that's just not going to work. No, she said, I don't think the things that neither one of us would want to change, the things that, you know, that are that different about us. And he said, well, how do you know? And then, did you ask me? And she said, yeah, I definitely asked you. And he said, okay, like when? What did you ask me? Crickets. Literally like this. Right now, I can't mentally sit here. Well, first of all, you need to be lucky I'm even having this conversation with you. But second of all, I can't mentally sit up here and really just completely flip it. You never answered him because you didn't. Because you didn't, like the rest of us said. Because you didn't, okay? So Chris ended up pretty much saying the truth, which is you're not here for the right reasons. Let's just get down to it. You're not. And then she gets all upset and she's like, I'm not going to sit up here. This is my character. You think I will put my mom and them through this? Like, you are actively, this is the weirdest part about it. You logically know that what you are doing and the way that you are acting, how it's gonna come off, but you're still doing it. That's the weirdest part about all this. You are literally in the moment, continuously recognizing that you're being a bitch and that the way that this is gonna come off on TV is gonna be terrible, but you keep doing it. I feel bad for your mama, but I don't feel bad for your mama because at least your mom knew. See, I'm thankful that you said on TV that your mom was calling you and telling you to act right, because otherwise I would be like, who the fuck raised you? But obviously your mama got sense. You off your rocker. But for you to continuously sit up here and say that you have been trying, you have not tried. Like everybody said, we know the timeline, girl. Like when he was sitting up there telling Lindsay and Mark and stuff, and he was like, literally that same night of the wedding, she said that she didn't feel like we was compatible. They was like, what? By that point in time, like he said, you wouldn't even have had more than a surface level conversation. Like, what's your last name? What do you do for work? What is your goals and aspirations? So you did not try. You turned that corner. You did not like the way that he looked. And so you already put up a block from that. And then when the friends told you something, you used that as an excuse to seal the deal as to why you did not want to be messed, why you didn't want to be bothered with this man. However, karma, you did want everything else that came with it. You wanted the vacation and you wanted the daggone to be on TV and you wanted the apartment. But let me tell you something. Like that black producer said, and I would be that black producer, this is married at first sight, not single at first sight. So if you don't feel like you really want to sit up here and commit to Chris, you need to pack your stuff and go home back to your mama so she can reteach you what she was trying to tell you on the phone. You ain't gonna have no man like that. And I don't even understand how people are friends with you when you act like that. That's wild. I would have been smacked the hell out of her. I'm out of here, y'all.